AI did not break your business. It just exposed where your real value was. And I'm going to talk about why this feels so uncomfortable. I've been doing AI services for about 3 years now, and this is what I hear from a lot of service based businesses. AI killed my services, clients don't want to pay anymore, and everything is so automated now. And that's true. That is true. I am not going to deny that. But I'm going to give you a different way of thinking. Your frustration is real, but AI did not remove your value because people are no longer paying for execution, they are paying for a result. And this has been true before AI became more of a prevalent commodity, but it's even more true now. So no longer are you competing with the person next door or the competitor down the block or the competitor across the country. You are also competing with DIY. You're also competing with large language models. You're competing with the fact that people can get the result that they want themselves faster and cheaper. So what do you do? Well, here's the painful point, right? Execution got cheaper, faster, easier, and more accessible. But it doesn't mean that the result that you bring was never valuable. Of course it is, because you have lived and learned experience. And the most important thing about that is your lived and learned experience will allow you to use AI better than the people that you serve. And here is the pivot. You need to pivot your thinking to say, how can I use this to work with me instead of against me? How can I use this to make myself more amplified and more effective so that I can serve more people? And how do you operate instead of a place of scarcity, lack, and fear to one of empowerment with these tools? And I hear people say, well, I'm not technical. My audience is not technical. This is not something that's going to stick. AI sucks. When I put in a prompt, I get a bad output, and I know it's a bad output, and people aren't going to fall for it. Let me tell you something. People don't know what they don't know. When your audience or your customer, your clients are using AI products, they will get an answer back that is confident sounding, correct sounding, and they don't know what they don't know, right? If they didn't put in the right input, they're not going to get the right output. But they don't know that. So you're not only competing with the person that offers the same service as you, but you're competing with that mentality. Oh, well, Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT can give me the same result. And that's not true, right? Because you know what you know, you've studied, you've been in it, you've been doing it for a while, and you know what to input into a large language model or an AI tool, and you know what a good output looks like. You know how to iterate to get a result that you need. You know what things are going to be sound advice or sound for your clients, for your customers, better than they know themselves. And that's where you really need to sell. You need to sell that result. You need to say, I can do this better than you can do it on your own. So let's think about what that looks like for a second. Years ago, I used to do web design and web development. And I made pretty good money off of it, right? Because that was a skill that people needed. That was an output, a service people needed, and that was a skill that I had. And in order to do that, you had to be good at coding, you had to be good at marketing, design, and these were a lot of things that people could not do on their own, so they paid me to do it. And the payment was for the execution to get that result. And of course, they paid for the site, they wanted the result, but the execution mattered because the barrier to entry was a lot higher than it is now. Fast forward to today, you can build a website in minutes with Wix or with Gamma or Lovable or even vibe coding something that makes it look acceptable. The barrier to entry is very, very low. But just because the barrier to entry is low doesn't mean that web designers don't make money right now. Just because I no longer do web design doesn't mean that it is not profitable for many people to this day. What do they do sell? The result. They may use AI themselves to deliver the final product in fulfillment, right? They're no longer manually typing in CSS classes or code or anything else like that. They might not manually be doing the work, but the inputs that they know to be correct are there, and they can vet the outputs. Will this page convert? Does this work with all browsers? Does this work? Is this scalable? Is this responsive? Does this work for this particular audience? What are the patterns that people need to know in order to make a website or landing page convert? These are the things that somebody who does not have the experience cannot properly assess for because they don't know what to look for. And this is just one example, right? I can give you an example in the coaching space. I know there are a lot of coaches in my audience, and with ChatGPT, Gemini, you can pretty much put in a prompt, ask it for advice, and things like that. Even though it has no sentience, it can sound very sentient. It has a high degree of agreeableness, and it answers questions confidently. But the thing is the input correct and is the output correct? And these are things people don't know that they don't know. But these are things that you, as a service provider, if you're a coach, you know that if somebody is getting a good result that is going to help them versus just a result that sounds good in the moment. And also, they are getting the accountability of an actual human being versus just an output from a large language model. So these are some of the things that you need to consider when you are marketing your service-based business and you're operating in it. Yes, as a coach, you can definitely use AI responsibly to synthesize client notes, for example, come up with like courses or programs and things like that, or take an idea and flesh it out. There are many ways that you can use AI as a service provider and as a coach, but the underlying knowledge, input, and structure all come from you. So when execution becomes cheaper, other things become more valuable. Your time, your experience, the things that you know, your decision making, your judgment, and your knowing what not to do also becomes valuable too. So I really want to leave you with that. I want to leave you with this, is that yes, you do need to make a shift. AI will not kill your business. In fact, it will enhance it if you do it the right way. If you use it in the fulfillment, in the marketing and operation of your business, you can literally amplify the change that you want to make in the world. And if you have a service-based business, you can amplify the things that you're able to do now with your business with the tool. So I hope that gives you some clarity, and I hope that gives you some direction. And why I made this is that sometimes AI can feel messier than it should. And if you're just wondering what to do now with all of these different products and all of these different things that are being sold to you, you need to take a step back and you need to really understand what it is that you want to do, where you want to go, and not have something being sold to you, but making an informed decision on where to go next with your use of AI. And I know that right now everybody has a ChatGPT account or using Gemini or using Claude or using something, and they're like, okay, well, I already know what to do, right? And I get a lot of people, it's like, oh, I already know what to do. I'm already using AI, but are you really using it? Or are you just spinning your wheels? And a lot of times I want to just shake people and say, no, you need an actual use case for the thing that you're doing. Otherwise, it's just busy work disguised as productivity. So I made a 3 use case AI assessment that you can definitely take. You should take. Sorry, my cat distracted me. That you can absolutely take, and it'll show you what to work on first, because these wins come from actually completing your efforts. So whether it is that you want to enhance your marketing, create content faster, create SOPs faster, maybe even create like paths to fulfilling services for your clients, worksheets, workbooks, whatever the case may be, you need to just work on a few things at a time. I would say 1 to 3 things. If it doesn't need to be three, it doesn't need to be three. It could be one. But the assessment that I have will help you decide what to work on first so that you can make empowered decisions on what to invest in, what to spend your time with, what to spend your team's time with, and what to learn first, because there's always something new to learn. And I don't want any of us to be left behind. Even if you're so-called advanced, there's something new to learn all the time. So I'll leave you with that. That's all I got to say about that for now. So the link to that is wherever this is posted. And remember, AI did not kill your business. It just reshifted what it means to sell execution versus selling the value. All right. So take care, be well, and I'll see you later. Bye.